If you are an Israeli founder or tech leader, you know the struggle is real. The shekels through the roof, your dev costs went up drastically, and finding top engineers is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. But what if there was a way to get the talent you need without blowing your budget or settling for second best and keeping all of that risk-free? That's what we will be exploring today with Dror Har, the founder of Globaldev Group. They have spent years helping Israeli tech companies rethink their engineering structure by integrating remote teams in places like Armenia, Ukraine, Poland, and Vietnam. Whether you are looking to scale your product fast, save on costs, or simply find the best talent for your project, this episode is packed with valid advice that you can put into action today. So let's go. Dror, great to have you here. Tell us a bit about your backstory. What led you to the wild world of global tech?
Okay, so just a quick intro. I'm 56 years old, married, and father to 4 fairly grown up kids. I live in Kadima, Israel, and my latest hobby is playing paddle with my friends. I've been working in the consulting and software development industry for many years, both in Israel and abroad, with heavy focus on data and analytics engagements. 5 years ago, I founded Globaldev Group, which have grown since then to over 400 employees, 4 global development hubs, and over 80 customers around the world.
The mighty shekel. What does that mean for Israeli tech companies who are trying to keep their product development budgets in check?
Well, the mighty shekel is a mighty problem to me and to my Israeli-based companies. That most of them rely on USD-based revenue, while having their main costs tied to the Israeli shekel. The high local cost impacts Israeli companies, I guess, in two folds. The first is keeping a competitive edge or some kind of competitive ability against their US and European competition. The second is having a gap between the budget that was approved and against the investment commitments and the plan that they have to this budget. So since costs suddenly risen by 20% within a few months. This problem is actually an extension of a bigger problem regarding the high level cost of Israeli developers. Today, the cost of an Israeli developer is even higher than the one in the US. It's over 30% higher than the one in Germany, UK, Spain, France, and it's about 50 to 70% higher than what we can offer in our development hubs. The gap has become too big to handle or to justify.
That's nice. Okay, so let's say a company based in Tel Aviv has 100% local team and they decide to move to hybrid setup. What does that transition actually look like? What kind of budget relief can they realistically expect?
If I try to keep some conservative measures, then for every transition of development capacity, you can expect either saving of about 50% in terms of a budget, or an ability to double development capacity at no extra cost. You can get even higher saving figures if you leverage our Vietnamese hub, where you can reach 70% saving or triple engineering capacity at the same budget. Having said that, look, every customer would have his own specific dilemma around which hub to choose, and we can support him through this discussion. Not every hub is a good fit to every customer.
Okay, so about the hubs. So Globaldev has engineering hubs in Armenia, Ukraine, Poland, and Vietnam. Why did you pick these specific locations instead of just focusing on one?
Well, we deliver the same service on top of the same platform for all of our hubs. But each one of our development hubs some different strengths that are a match to different customers. And I'll start with our Ukrainian hub, which is the largest and offer huge capacity of very skilled engineers at a very comfortable price point. Specifically now, after 4 or 5 years of whatever's happening in Ukraine right now, the prices are much lower than many places in Eastern Europe. And the dedication of Ukrainian developers have grown by far. So the other thing about Ukraine is that Israeli companies are already got used to working with Ukrainian developers. And even more importantly, Ukrainian developers also got used to answer Israeli companies' expectations. So this is about our Ukrainian hub. The second hub is in Poland, and it offers a lot of advantage in terms of being part of EU. which is important for some of our customers, sharing data, privacy, and such. Excellent communication skills and very large capacity. Now, specifically in Warsaw, if you want to build a physical office, I guess Warsaw will be your number one spot to consider because there's just huge amount of capacity in one city. On the flip side, Poland is a bit more expensive right now than our other hubs, and is fairly crowded in terms of demand. So it's not as easy to find resources as it used to be. But still, if you want to go with a physical office and you want to have an ability to visit the office very easily, then Warsaw should be considered. Our Armenian hub is also very unique in a sense that has a very quick turnaround on finding experienced resources. Armenian software developers are like a tight community with a lot of friendly references. Having an office in Yerevan managed by two veteran managers in the community, it allows us to ramp up very quickly with excellent resources. Another unique Armenian advantage is the culture. So the Israeli and Armenian culture is very similar. Immediately, there's very good connections, and that brings into a very quick onboarding and good productivity. The last one is the Vietnamese hub, and what Vietnam offers to us is huge advantage in terms of providing very low pricing point with excellent hardworking developers. Keep in mind, Vietnam is 100 million population. That's more than Ukraine, Poland, Armenia, Romania, Bulgaria all together. And they put huge amount of focus on growing their IT and software development industry, from education to tax incentive to minimal bureaucracy. The talent that we're able to find there is amazing. So these are our four hubs, then each one with his own strengths.
Okay, Dror, thanks. So I think the next question, which can be interesting for Israeli CTOs or tech leaders, is the following. So there are hundreds of outstaffing vendors out there. Why should an Israeli CTO care that we have teams in places like Armenia, Eastern Europe, or Vietnam? Why would they even care about working with Globaldev at all?
I guess the real question here is, how would the CTO choose the right outstaffing offshore partner? And yes, there are many potential partners in the market, small ones, big ones, from all different kinds. If a CTO is looking for an opportunistic offshore hire, and like closing a temporary gap, then many of the vendors can support. Each has some reach in the market and offer available candidates based on his own network. In case a CTO is looking to make something a bit more strategic and build a team extension that will be a core part of his team for the long term, then I believe there are much fewer relevant partners. I would advise the CTO in such cases to look for partners with these type of credentials. First of all, a solid offshoring delivery approach. So partners that don't just have a recruiting capability, but also an ability to manage the employees, retain them, make them feel comfortable in their place, be transparent with the customer in everything that is happening. That would be the most important part that I would consider. Partners that can scale, because sometimes you start with a small team, but if everything goes well, your plan is to increase the team to 20 to 30, whatever the number is. And not many partners can scale and manage such big teams for the long term. The third thing, I guess, is that having multiple development hubs allow the CTO a lot of flexibility. Flexibility in terms of price, flexibility in terms of where to find specific type of resources. I can share, for example, that in Armenia, we have huge success in hiring data scientists. And in Poland, we have much better success of finding business analysts, product managers, and such. I guess the last couple of ones is find a partner that has solid financials, because they're responsible to pay salaries and insure your employees. And there are too many players in the market that don't have that solid financials, and you need to consider if you want to partner with them when it's your core employees in this case. And I guess the most important one is you need to work with people that you feel comfortable to work with. So that one you will find in the first couple of meetings with every vendor, but that one you cannot compromise as well. If a CTO will check all these criteria or whatever other criteria that he has in mind, I don't think that he will find so many partners that match those.
Okay, Dror, thanks. And uh, you know that it takes months to find and onboard a senior software or AI engineer, yeah, right now in Israel. How quickly Global Dev can get a weighted, tested engineer on board?
So I would love to claim 2 weeks per hire, like many of my colleagues claim in their marketing campaigns, but this is not real. Building a team takes time. The part that we usually accelerate a lot is finding a short list of vetted developers. So we have huge databases of relevant talents, and we have a big team of more than 10 in-house recruiters. So usually within 1 or 2 weeks since posting the job vacancy, we're able to provide the CTO or the hiring manager a short list of 3 to 5 candidates that already went through our vetting and are ready for the next step to be interviewed with the customer. The second part of the interview process is more dependent on each company and varies much by the urgency of the role, availability of the relevant manager, and the process set up by the customer. And the last part would be a notice period for the developer from his previous employer, and that is usually between 2 to 4 weeks. In practice, if we achieve together a 6 to 8 weeks period from raising requests to having a developer on board on his first day, then I guess we are both together doing quite a good job.
Okay, Dror, thank you. And I think most popular question that because all listeners love a good success stories. Can you share one with us? Maybe an example of an Israeli client whom you helped.
Yeah, I guess we can share a couple. So the first one I would share is a fairly mature ad tech company. While they've been working with a small team of offshore developers, they made a decision a year ago to a strategic decision to increase the part of the offshore in their R&D team. And the reason for that was twofold again. One of it was they needed to increase capacity fairly quickly, and it's very hard to hire very good resources in Israel very quickly. And also, they wanted to balance the cost because the cost is just getting out of hand. And we talked about it before. So, after a couple of discussions together, we decided that we would build the team around our Warsaw hub because for them it was very important that the core team would come to the office at least 2 to 3 times a week. And they wanted also to have a location that it's easy to travel to from Israel and to Israel. Over the last 6 months, we've built together a team of about 20 developers, including data engineers, Java developers, QA, machine learning engineers, data scientists. Well, most of them, the team is from Warsaw. The customer agreed at one point of time to open vacancies also to our other hubs, which were very successful in terms of finding the talent that they were looking for at a very attractive price point and also quickly. We're now growing the team to additional roles that are not specifically technical, so such as sales reps, product management, customer support, because it's the same motivation from the customer side. Find very good resources with good skills with good experience, but find them at a reasonable price point that they can manage their budget. So this is one case. The second case is a very different case. So the second case is a fresh stealth mode startup. The founder reached us through a reference of ours and asked if we can help building their core originating development team alongside the CTO and the lead developer in Israel. We agreed to focus on Eastern Europe with no request for physical office, but main request was that the find resources with AI native experience in their work because this is a Gen AI type of stealth mode, and they must have that experience in all of their developers. And within 4 weeks, the customer had his first 3 R&D team members onboarded. At the same time, he recruited a couple of more developers in Israel, forming his core team going forward and building the first release of MVP and product. I can share with you that a year later, actually this month, the client raised $24 million of funding and is now ready to accelerate the growth of the team, both Israel and offshore.
Great.
So these are the two that I can share.
Okay, thanks, Dror. This has been an absolute masterclass. For a tech leader who is tired of all this interviewing, hiring, firing struggle, financial ups and downs, what would be your final words of wisdom?
I'm not sure wisdom is the right word, but I wish all CTOs, founders, and R&D team lead a lot of success. There are so many challenges. I guess Israeli startup community has that special magic to overcome all of these challenges, whether it's dollar, whether it's shekel, whether it's Iran, whether it's anything. If going global can help, we would love to go global together, and I'd love to catch up with whoever has this plan in mind. Thank you for this session.
Thank you, Dror. See you all in next episodes.